Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Look at me, it is only June 2nd and already I'm filming my May wrap up. Yay! Sometimes I wait a little too long. In May, I tried something new where I did a mid-month check-in, which I really enjoyed, and I think I'll probably do that again for June. But during that video, I did talk about the first 4 books that I read in May, and then there were none: The Clockmaker's Daughter, Thunderhead, and Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. So if you're interested in my thoughts of any of those, I will link the video that I already made talking about these books. So I'm not going to talk about any of them here, but I do have 8 more books plus a DNF, so 9 more books to talk about. And so I'm just going to jump right in because that's still quite a few books. I'm pretty impressed that every month of this year, except for March, I've read 12 books. In March, I did do 31 for a book a day during middle grade March, but every other month of this year, I've read 12 books. So I really think that that would be cool if that could keep going. I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep up that pace, but so far it's just happened that way. So I'm not sad about it. The book that I'm going to start off with today is one that was recommended to me by you guys at the beginning of the year, and it is another Liane Moriarty. This is What Alice Forgot. I really enjoyed this book. I think I love Liane Moriarty, especially at this time of year. She does write contemporary stories, sometimes with a little bit of mystery in them. They are kind of light, kind of fun, quick reads, very engaging, but they also have a level of depth to them. So they're not just fluff, which I like that in my contemporary. I like it to have some depth. So in this book, we meet Alice. Right at the beginning, Alice fell during a class at the gym and wakes up thinking that it's 10 years earlier. So I think it was 1997. I forget what year she thinks it was, but she thinks it was, she has lost 10 years of her life, basically. And so the majority of this book is just Alice trying to find out what happened, and she's learning about the woman that she's become over the last 10 years, and she's discovering she doesn't particularly like this new woman, and what can she do about it. So she's married, and when she wakes up, she thinks she's in a very happy, loving marriage, and however, over the last 10 years, things have disintegrated, and she's now on the verge of a divorce with her husband, and they have 3 children, none of whom she remembers. It's a book about marriage and friendship and the choices that we make and how that shapes who we become. I liked the questions that this made me think about my own self and who I've become in the last 10 years, and would my 10 years ago self like who I am now? I like to think so for the most part. But yeah, this was a really good, very engaging. I love Liane Moriarty. So I'm thrilled that this was a recommendation by you guys. So thanks for that. Then I picked up a book I was very excited about. This was sent to me by Atria Books. Thank you so much. I did request this and they graciously sent it to me. And it's Things My Son Needs to Know About the World by Frederick Bachman. This is sort of a collection of essays. It is nonfiction. So it's different from the other books by Bachman. I think this is his only nonfiction that I'm aware of. It's a collection of essays written as a father to his young son. Things I loved about this book is that you could still tell that it's Frederick Bachman. He has still a quirky yet heartfelt tone to each of these essays, and I absolutely loved the honor and respect that he gives to his wife. She is not a character in here. She's not in every single essay, but she's definitely a presence in this little family. And Frederick Bachman absolutely shows her so much respect while talking to his son. So just saying how lucky they are to have this woman in their life, and all the work that she does and who she is as a person. I just really loved seeing that as both as a husband and as a father, showing his wife such respect. I really loved it. So there was a lot of humor in here, but it was also very heartfelt, as Frederick Bachman is known to do in my book. So I really am thankful that I had this book, and I think this would make a fantastic Father's Day gift for any fathers out there. It's just a fun read. Quirky, slightly, oh, I put notes on the back. I thought I should start doing this, but this is the only book I did. What did I say? He pokes a lot of fun at himself and at parental expectations, like things people expect out of parents, or like cultural norms for parents, at least in the West, in the States. It is slightly irreverent. There is a little bit of language in here for those who don't care for that. But yeah, so much love for his son and his wife. So definitely worth the read, I think. Then I read a modern classic, I believe, Flowers for Algernon by Danielle Keyes. In this book, we follow Charlie, who has a very low IQ, and he is approved for this new drug that's supposed to raise his level of IQ, make him very smart. It had been only previously tested on animals. Ugh, sorry for the watery eyes. I just sneezed like 17 times. Algernon is a rat that had a lot of success with this new drug, and so they wanted to try it on a human, and Charlie was the lucky or unlucky subject. This story is written in journal entries from Charlie, and it's super interesting to see the progression at the beginning with his very low IQ, and as the drugs take effect, how that changes the way that he writes, the vocabulary, the spelling, the insight and the depth of things that he's writing about. So we follow Charlie through his relationships with the team of psychologists and scientists that he's working with, his teacher, and the rat Algernon. So it's a pretty sad story overall, and I didn't particularly love it, but it was a very interesting read. So I'm glad that I read it. I'm making a lot of progress this year with books that are already on my shelves, so I'm really thrilled. Oh, and this is one that was recommended to me by you guys at the beginning of the year. So another one of those checked off my list. Yay! After the sadness of Flowers for Algernon, I wanted something light and fluffy and didn't want to have to think. So I picked up Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. This is an author duo. Christina Lauren is two people, and Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library gush and rave about Christina Lauren. So in this story, we follow Josh and Hazel. They knew each other in college, weren't particularly friends or close, but 10 years later, Hazel is best friends with Josh's sister, and they reconnect. And of course, romance ensues. It starts with a really pretty solid friendship between the two of them, and I really liked that kind of slow burn friends to lovers. It's definitely not a hate to love, it's definitely a friends to love. I did appreciate that there's not like oodles of sexy time in this book. There is a couple romantic scenes like that, but it's not on every page. It was just this sweet story of these two friends and how that friendship develops into more. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was just what I needed at the right time. I think I flew through it in 2 days. I think I would end up giving this one 4 stars. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I would be interested in reading more from Christina Lauren. So I don't think all of her books would be for me. All of their books, sorry, it's two people. I don't think all of their books would be right for me, but I am interested in trying out more from them. Next I finished, if you watched my vlog from my Lancaster trip, I did finish reading An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. I started this on audiobook on my trip up and finished reading it while I was there. This is the story of a marriage. In this book we follow Celestial and Roy. They've been married for about 1.5 years when Roy is wrongfully accused and then incarcerated for a crime that he did not commit. And it just tells the story of that situation, Roy's experience in prison and then being released eventually, and then Celestial having to be the wife to someone who was wrongfully incarcerated and the choices that she made. Ultimately, I left this feeling very sad. However, I do think that it was an honest look at an African-American couple in modern day America, but also just marriage and the intricacies and difficulties that can arise. It felt very honest. The writing was fantastic. It was definitely engaging. I was interested in what was going on, even though I didn't necessarily like or agree with the choices the characters made. I definitely thought that this book was worth the read. So I really, I think I ended up giving this one 4 stars as well. Celestial drove me nuts. I definitely didn't appreciate her in this story, but I don't think any of the characters really were without fault. But that's humanity, right? None of us are without fault. So it felt real, it felt authentic, and I appreciated that. So yeah, I'm really glad that I read this one. I know it was very hyped a little while ago, so I would say that it kind of lives up to the hype for me. I then read another Agatha Christie, which I just had so much fun reading the 2 Agatha Christie's that I did in May. And I've read Murder on the Orient Express, which is also one of her most popular ones. And this is a super fun story of these people on a train. They get snowed in. Like the train stops, and at some point someone on the train, one of the passengers, is murdered, and Hercule Poirot, I can never say that, is a detective. He is on this train headed back to London, and he has to solve the murder. So he and the doctor and one of the train workers all interview different passengers and try to piece together the clues to find out who killed the fella who died. It was a lot of fun. I thought along the way I had some inklings of things, and I definitely did pick up on a couple of the clues, but towards the end, when the whole reveal of what happened, like when Hercule Poirot lays it all out of what happened, I definitely was surprised. There was definitely aspects of it that blew me away, and I just love Agatha Christie for that. So that was a lot of fun, and I'm super glad I read it. I was not late in finishing Betsy Was a Junior. I am participating in the Betsy Tacy Read Along in 2019, and this is the book that was for May, and I finished it in May. Yay me! This was super fun. I like these books more and more and more with each one that I read. As Betsy gets older, I like them so much better. So in this book, she's a junior in high school. In the last one, she was really trying to discover who she was and trying on different personalities to see if that would suit her. And in this one, she's a little more sure of herself, which I really like. But I love that it starts out with her making a list of kind of resolutions for the new school year and things that she's going to do and accomplish as her sister is headed off to college, and who she wants to become now as the oldest daughter that's at home. And none of that ends up happening the way that she expects. And so that's just life. I do that all the time. So I thought that was very real. I love her parents. I love the role that they play in their lives, the choices that they make as parents. I love the closeness between the 3 sisters, and of course the friendships that Betsy has and how those change and develop throughout this book. In a major part of this one is talking about sororities. Her sister is talking all the time when she visits or talks to them about when she visits, she's always talking about the sororities at college. And so Betsy decides that it would be a good idea to start a sorority in high school as well. And so this just talks about the consequences of that sorority that they create. But it's just a lot of fun and heartfelt, and we get a little bit more of Jo in this one. And the book for June is called Betsy and Jo, and I'm so excited because I've just loved seeing the slow build of them even becoming friends with each other, and just the little bits of conversations that they do have. I'm just so excited for them to finally get together. I hope. Next book. Such a good read. And then I had my 1 DNF right at the end of the month. I had picked this up at the library kind of on a whim in the middle of May. It's The Bookshop of the Brokenhearted by Robert Hillman, and was very hopeful for this. The synopsis talks about a Hungarian woman who endured the Holocaust at Auschwitz, and then she somehow ends up in Australia. And we also follow this man named Tom, who had kind of a brutal separation from his wife and his wife's child. I don't think it's actually his child, but he cared for this child for years because his wife just kind of took off, and maybe they weren't actually married. I don't know. But these two, the Hungarian woman whose name is Hannah and Tom connect over a bookshop that she is building in the town, in this little rural town in Australia. The thing that I read about 75 pages or so of this book, and the language, the writing was super choppy. And I know in part that someone pointed out to me that's kind of like Tom in his personality, so it suits a little bit. But then all of a sudden, Tom and Hannah are lovers, and there was absolutely no build-up or explanation for how that happened. It just was one day he's working in the shop, and a week later they've been together for 3 days, and he's staying every night at her house. And I just, it just was too abrupt. The writing itself was too abrupt and choppy. I feel like it has so much potential, and as we started to go back into the backstory of both of them, there was a level of me that was interested, but because of the writing, it was keeping me from really getting into the flow of it. So I just decided, too many other things I want to read. It was kind of just a whim pickup. I haven't heard too much about it. If I hear a lot of other people that said they really loved it, then maybe I'll pick it up again at some point. But for now, at the end of May, it just wasn't what I wanted to read. So I set it down, DNF, and I'm okay with that. And then I decided I did not want to jump into my June reads, even though it was like the last day of June. I still wanted to pick up something else, and so I grabbed off of my series shelf, I grabbed Isla and the Happily Ever After. I knew this would be a super quick read by Stephanie Perkins, and I had a feeling that I would read it and then unhaul it, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. It was cute, it was sweet, not very much happened in this. We follow Isla and Josh, who are both mentioned in the other 2 books in the series. This is the 3rd in the companion series that has Anna and the French Kiss and Lola and the Boy Next Door, both of which I read and didn't particularly enjoy. And so I don't know why I thought I would enjoy this one, and I did, to the degree that it was a quick and light and fluffy read. I felt like Isla was probably the most like me, except that she was 5'0" and super petite, which is not me at all, because I'm on the tall end of things. So I hate that Josh was a foot taller than her, because that's a waste of height, us tall girls say. Tall guys with short girls is never my favorite. So yeah, he's an artist, particular cartoon, like graphic memoir. He's writing his own graphic memoir, like cartoonist, animator type of thing. She doesn't know what she wants to do with her life, has a lot of insecurities, is the middle child, and she feels a little bit unloved and unlovable. So she just has a lot of insecurities. It was a little bit insta-lovey. She has had a crush on Josh all through their years at this boarding school in Paris. And then all of a sudden one day he shows up at her door. Like, what? That's never happened to me with crushes that I had. So it was cute. It was fine. I think I gave it 2 or 3 stars. Like, it just wasn't blowing my mind at all, and I'm not going to keep it. But it was a fun way to end the month. I read it. I did finish it yesterday, so technically I finished it on June 1st. I'm counting it as May because I wanted to get that 12 books. So that is it. Those are the books that I read in the month of May. So including the ones from my mid-month wrap-up, I do have 13 here, 12 and 1 DNF. Dun, da, da, da. Whoa! They're not gonna all get in the frame because I'm too close. There we go. They're in. I would love to hear from you. What was your favorite read in May? Do you have the same thoughts as me on any of these, or different thoughts from me on any of these? Thank you for all of you who participated in the Choose Your Own Agatha Christie on Goodreads. I still have to respond to some comments and thoughts over there and set up June's book. Actually, I need to do that today. I need to set up the next book. Yeah. Comment down below. You know I always love talking with you down there. And give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be talking to you in another video very soon. Bye.